and that's going to be difficult if they run into a team like that in the tournament. I think Michigan's going to be a really telltale sign for this group. Obviously, Michigan really defends well, keeps you out of the paint, and gets after you. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works when they go there to Ann Arbor on January 6th. That's definitely going to be something interesting to see. Okay, well, how do they handle something like that? Again, Michigan's really, really good. They don't have a Zion, and nobody does. But they've got some players that can make it really difficult for you all the way out, and they defend really well against Xavier. Xavier Simpson does a great job of guarding guys on the perimeter, so they defend you everywhere. But they can't do what Zion and Barrett and those guys can do. So that'll be interesting to see just what that looks like. But yeah, no, I mean, they are going to be dependent on that. They're going to depending on finding a way to get the ball in the lane to those guys and drawing fouls and making enough free throws. They're not. I think Romeo's getting better. I think that was a surprise. Morgan wasn't great at it. It had some issues there before. Langford, you had to think he's got to be better there than he has been. When you play like that, when you're a guard and so much of your game is based on getting to the rim and driving on guys and going up against contact, you got to hit the free throws when you get them. You got to be up there around 80 at least. So he's getting closer to that. I'm not sure what his percentage is right now, but he's got to get better there, so he's making those shots, and that obviously can go a long way as well, as even if he's not finishing there, going up against big guys against contact, he's got to be able to get the 2 points when he gets to the line.
Talking to Dustin Doperak from The Athletic, Romeo has obviously shown growth this year in moving up from being one of the most prolific high schoolers to playing in college. His game has obviously improved. He's obviously gotten a lot more comfortable being the guy and what his role is, and that's just scoring the basketball, basically. His shot still needs to come around, obviously, but, man, he's doing a phenomenal job of getting to the rim, drawing fouls, and drawing attention. I mean, even Juwan Morgan's been able to step outside and hit threes, I think partly because of Romeo driving the lane.
Yeah, no, they're both doing a really good job, I think, of playing off each other. And I think that's something also that Langford had to figure out, that Romeo had to figure out, is like, okay, he's not used to having somebody like that. Like Juwan, basically, it's going to take attention as well. Like, he's not used to not having to score the ball every single time. And I think he's found a pretty good comfort level with it, basically understanding, to attack, to go after it and score, but not feel like the ball has to be in his hands every single time. And he's really good without the ball. He's really good at, cutting at the right times. And moving his guy around and being really precise without the ball in his hands. I think you've seen a lot of growth in him offensively. I mean, he's just a really sturdy, sharp offensive player. All around. Again, the shot's got to get a little bit better, especially for his draft status at the next level. He needs to be able to make that three, and he needs to be able to make free throws. But again, he's just really good at getting the ball in the paint, really good at driving it, really good at moving around and putting himself in good spots. Cutting well, and just knowing what to do with defenders, basically, to make Morgan's life easier. So those two guys do a really good job of dealing with each other and knowing, okay, like, how do they set each other up. He's a really smart basketball player that way. Does got to get a little bit better defensively, but you're still seeing some growth there. I think he's getting an idea of how to. He's definitely opportunistic. He does a good job of knowing when he can steal the ball and turning into transition buckets. And he's just a nightmare in transition. If you've got to try to find a deal with him, basically when he's coming downhill as an opponent, I mean, it's just not something you want to see. So he's really just, you're seeing a lot of improvement, a lot of growth in him already. I think he had to find out that there were flaws in his game, and that's something I don't think he even realized, because he was just so dominant as a high school player, and I don't know if anybody ever told him, okay, you've got to get better, you've got to get better at that, or you're not there with this. So I think he's got a lot better with those things. I want to go so far as that. He was obviously pushed as a high school player for sure, but I don't know if he realized that there were weaknesses in his game that were as weak as they are, especially when it comes to defense. But he's just come a long way with that already, and you're seeing him become a constantly more complete basketball player.
Dustin Doperak covers IU for The Athletic. Dustin, you can find him at Dustin Doperak on Twitter. Where else can they find your work besides The Athletic, obviously?
Well, that's it right now. I mean, you can look back at archives and stuff like that. They're not letting me, they don't want us freelancing or anything like that. But yeah, no, check out theathletic.com and not only me, we've got a heck of a roster over there. It's pretty amazing, pretty special thing in terms of what they've been able to build, in a short period of time. And we've just really got an all-star team, especially in college basketball. O'Neal, Brian Hamilton, Seth Davis is our national guys. And, a lot of others in regional sites, Kyle Tucker down there at Kentucky, Jeff at Louisville, C.J. Moore out covering Kansas and Missouri and those teams, C.L. Brown, North Carolina, Tobacco Road, Duke. We've got some special reporters that it's pretty amazing team to be a part of, and we're just putting out just a ton of, in-depth, well-researched, stories. Basically, we just put together a series called The Home of the Game. I think there was some really special stuff there as far as looking at venues and courts and what they mean to players, to cities, and there's just been some amazing stuff written. Dana O'Neal did a great piece on the Palestra. Eamon Brennan out in Washington did a great story on the Goodman League, the Playground League out there. There's always a lot of interesting stuff to read at The Athletic. It's not just throwing every bit of minutia at you. So that's some stuff you want to go someplace else for, but we do a lot of really good in-depth stuff. So, not only my stuff, if you're interested in college basketball in general or really any sport, there's a lot of just terrific, great reporters, great writers that site that you can find every day.
Dustin, appreciate it, bro. Look forward to talking to you again. Can't wait.
Sounds good, man. Thanks so much for having me, Jim.
Thank you. Dustin Doperak from The Athletic. Look forward to talking to him each and every week as he covers the Hoosiers for The Athletic. Make sure you check him out there, and then at Dustin Doperak on Twitter. Couldn't hardly get that out. But, also on the program today, Todd Leary, Andrew Davis comes along, so we got plenty more to get to. Make sure you stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat's back right after this.
This is Jim Coyle, and I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number. alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. As we finish up this holiday week, hope you're having a good one. Jim Coyle sitting in with you, Justin Kalen high atop the Crew Chiefs box. Joined now by our good friend Drew Davis. Drew, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Great. Hope you had a happy holiday season and Christmas was good to you. Santa Claus was good to you.
Oh yeah, you know it was great to get down, see the family in Baton Rouge, and you know had a good time, and now I'm back. It's back to work.
What do you have for Christmas dinner in Baton Rouge? You have a little etouffee? What we got going there?
Yeah, I actually did have a little bit of that. They had mixed in a bunch of different kinds of foods, and you know, some gumbo and whatnot. And it was some, you know, I'll put it this way: I ate well.
Talk to me, son. A little gumbo, etouffee. We got it going on. That's a special Christmas meal. What's the Cajun connection to Drew?
I know.
No, I said, what is the Cajun connection?
I actually have a family that live down there on my mom's side, and you know, in Baton Rouge and the surrounding area, and so I've been going down there for a while now, and it's always fun. It's always a fun trip when I get to go down there.
Now, being an Indiana person, a IU person, when you're down there, is there any much talk about basketball at all, or is it like completely devoid of that when you get down to an area like that?
It's actually funny because I did run into some people that are friends of my cousins that are have connections to Indiana and are Indiana basketball fans, and I went over there for a little bit, and it was funny to hear how much talk there was about Indiana basketball when I walked in. I was like, man, I just can't escape it.
Yeah, it's hard. You can't go really anywhere, especially this time of season. But Indiana's on kind of a hiatus right now. They also have a nice little break off, 11 days in between games before they Jacksonville and before they take on Illinois in their next Big Ten contest, which is January 3rd. But the recruiting never stops. The high school kids never stop. They're all playing Christmas tournaments and whatnot. Who's been the hottest so far? What's going on in that world?
Yeah, I actually had a chance to go watch Caleb Furst last night, and it was his first game back in like 3 weeks, and he had a split on his offhand, so it made things a little difficult for him. You know, when you draw up your offhand with a split on, that's never easy. And it makes it hard to dribble with your offhand as well. And he's trying to get back into game shape. And you know, and there's nothing that beats running up and down the floor. So you can run around and do as much conditioning as you want, but nothing's going to get you back into game shape like just playing games and playing your way back into shape. And, Caleb didn't have his best night score in the basketball, but he rebounded well. And something that stood out to me about him is how well he passes it for a big man, how willing of a passer he is. And he also did a solid job of protecting the rim in that game, and I get to see him again tonight. And I'm looking forward to seeing him, the next 2 days, and getting to see a bigger sample size of him, and seeing some of his more of his post moves. He has a couple really nice ones. I didn't have a ton of points to show for it, but he's a very polished and has some solid moves down low.
Now, what class is Caleb in?
He's in the class of 2021. It's from Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian.
Cool, and Indiana, of course, he's on Indiana's radar. Has Indiana seen him play much?
I don't know if they've seen him play yet this year. They watched him during AAU, and they offered him in the fall when he took his unofficial visit in, I want to say, October.
Absolutely. Indiana doing a great job of keeping those Hoosier kids in state right now, or at least heading in that direction. Who of the kids that are playing that are not committed, and I know we're early into the season, in the high school season, even though we're at the Christmas break, their season is a little shorter than most everyone else's. They haven't played a ton of games. They probably played a total of 10 games maybe right now. But in this short section of the season, has anyone kind of stood out that I don't want to say unexpected, but it's kind of moved themselves up a little bit as far as any of the high schoolers making a name for themselves? Anybody kind of stood out a little bit more of late?
Yeah, there's Trey Coppin from Silver Creek. He's a guy that's turned a lot of heads in the 2021 class. Trey's he's 6'8", 6'9". He's still probably growing, and he's not the most athletic kid right now, but that could come as he grows into his body. He's still getting used to it, and he can step outside. And he has a good shooting stroke, and he's a guy that has kind of played his way into maybe that top tier and the 2021 class. He's a guy to keep an eye on, and I'm interested to kind of watch him play over the course of the season, kind of seeing how he grows. And a lot of times with those kids that aren't used to their bodies yet, they tend to take off. And just to name a few, I'm not going to compare him to these guys, but Caleb First was one of those guys. Once he got used to his body, he kind of took off. Trace Jackson Davis was the same way. Jaron Jackson Jr. was the same way. Sometimes once guys get used to their bodies and whatnot, it just kind of clicks for them,
Yeah, and it's interesting to watch these kids play in high school, whether it's Trace Jackson Davis or Amon Franklin or Brandon Newman, and watching them compete on the high school level before they go off to college and become either teammates or combatants again, like some of them will. I mean, Trace Jackson Davis committed to Indiana, Amon Franklin committed to Indiana, Brandon Newman to Purdue. So they'll be meeting on the college court in the future. But right now they're trying to get individually things done for their high schools, and Trace Jackson's team is probably not doing as well as a lot of people would think from a high school standpoint. They've been beaten a few times.
I think they have like 2 losses at this point. I want to say they've rebounded nicely from those 2 losses. I mean, one of those losses was to La Lumiere, the number 1
that almost
team in the
doesn't
country. If you play La Lumiere close for 3 quarters and the way Center Grove did, you only lose by 14. I mean, you can't really hang your head on that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the number 1 team in the country. That's something to kind of take something away from it. You did some things well in that game, and their other loss was a really just bizarre 40-point loss to Pike, but Pike pressed them, and they tried to throw it over the top of the press all game, threw the ball away a lot. And, sometimes teams just come out and get thumped in a game like that, and it's a wake-up call. But, Center Grove's, they're going to be at the Hall of Fame Classic this weekend up at Newcastle, and they're going to play against, I want to say Valparaiso in the first game, and then they'll likely get Warren Central at some point. And, I'm looking forward to hearing them and possibly going to see that game. And Warren Central is an incredible basketball team. Chris Byers does a phenomenal job up there. They don't even have David Bell at this point because he's not came back yet. But they have Jesse Bingham, the UIndy commit, Manny Brown, that transferred over from Park Tudor, or from Cecina, and Isaiah Boyd that transferred over from Park Tudor. And, they have some other guys as well. But they are undefeated right now. And the way things are looking and with how hard they played, they could very well run the table again this year if they hit all the right notes. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Warren. They don't really have any a guy that I need to see from a perspective of recruiting, but they just play hard. They play good basketball, and they know how to win. And I always enjoy watching Warren Central play, and I think it'll be interesting to see that matchup when we do get Warren Central Centerville.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting. Got to be a lot of great games this year. You got a lot of good teams, as always, in Indiana high school basketball. But a lot of guys that all have a name that's going somewhere, whether it's Floyd Central and Kobe Barnes, or Bloomington South, or Warren Central, or whomever. I mean, all these guys got somebody on them that's going somewhere, so it makes it a lot more interesting to follow. And these tournaments that they have in the winter and at Christmas time and whatnot, those are some fun games to watch from a high school standpoint.
Yeah, there's a lot of good tournaments and a lot of good basketball around Indiana this time of year. I was at the North Davies tournament last night. For the area being as small as it is, that's a phenomenal tournament for them to have. Like I said, the Hall of Fame tournament. You get the Bob Weddick tournament up in Richmond. You got a number of different events, and at this time of year, if I'm a high school coach, I want to be at one of those events because I want to find out something about my team.
Absolutely. Has anybody that we weren't really listening or paying attention to or not really hearing? Is there a name that we weren't hearing before that is kind of all of a sudden like, ooh, how about this kid? He's really playing well.
I'm going to have to go back to what I said earlier with Trey Crawford from Silver Creek. We saw him over the summer, and he kind of took off a little bit and had some big games in the Adidas Goblin up in New York. Had a really good showing against Michael Foster, one of the better big men in the 2021 class. And he turned some heads up there, and he was a guy that was on our radar that started out the high school season playing really well, and had Silver Creek off to a great start. I think he's the guy. There's a lot of expected things that have happened so far. He's the one outlier that, maybe people on the outside or most people weren't expecting him to put it together this early,
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen him play, and he's just a big raw kid. But those kids usually grow up, and their talents usually come together. We just never know exactly when that's going to happen, and his seems to be happening now.
Yeah, most definitely. And like I said, if his athleticism comes around, he's going to be a really, really nice player. That's the one thing right now that maybe needs to improve. I mean, in terms of his shooting and skill and touch for a big man, he's pretty good at that. Has some good post moves. He's very polished in the post. And he's a kid with a level head on his shoulders. I know he has a good work ethic, and he likes to put in a lot of time on his game. And that's something that you always look for, the intangibles that, aren't God-given abilities. And then some guys either have them or they don't. For him, that's a good sign. If he continues to work hard, he has a chance to be a real nice player.
Any word on the recruitment of Keon Brooks and his timeline? Has it anything come out of there? I know there's not a lot has changed, and he's not expected to do anything anytime in the next week or so. But any word on that?
See, they've moved on from Hawaii now up to the less luxurious location of South Dakota for a tournament. Now they're
oh man.
I know that's a bit of a difference, and they're going to go to West Virginia after that. So Keon's kind of at a standstill for the next couple weeks or so until he gets back from that. That's probably the earliest you can kind of see a decision and come in as mid-January. But right now he's kind of just focused on playing ball. They're the number one team in the country now. They got things rolling. Him and Isaiah Stewart have led the way for La Lumiere, but Keon's recruitment is still where it was, in December, and Indiana's still sitting in a really good spot, but there's still some things and time left, and anything can happen. But it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks, and interesting to see if he does go ahead and make a decision in mid-January. That's just probably the earliest something can happen. And we'll have to wait and see with him right now.
Absolutely. Coming up this weekend, any big or great matchups that we need to be paying attention to?
The Hall of Fame tournament is definitely the one to watch. With you could have that potential Center Grove Warren Central game. That's a game of last year. Center Grove Warren played at I want to say they played at Center Grove at that game, and Warren was trailing the whole game. And they came back. They put press on the final 2-3 minutes of the game. I don't think Center Grove scored a point, to be honest, and Warren Central ended up walking out there with a win, and I think that's a game that Center Grove has to be hungry for. And I think it's going to be a really good basketball game if we do get that matchup and things hold true at the Hall of Fame tournament to what we think will happen. And then another potential matchup between 1A opponents that could be a really nice game is Bar versus Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian, and both those teams are able to come out of their respective semifinals and the North Davies tournament. That could be a game to watch. And those two teams are ranked in the top, the 1A, and that could be a future matchup in the tournament. So that would be a matchup to keep an eye on. And I think there could be some good ones out in Richmond as well. Armar Franklin is out there in the Bob White tournament. He just scored a 1,000-point yesterday. On that one, I'm not so sure. Who's going to play against each other. You got New Albany out there. They beat Crown Point yesterday. And, with there being so many teams out there, the matchups are a little less clear. But I think there could be some good ones, especially as you get in the semifinals and the finals of that event.
Absolutely. Looking forward to all of that and much, much more. Drew, I appreciate you. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Hope you had a happy holidays, like I said, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, man. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, sir. Drew Davis from Peegs.com. Make sure you follow all his recruiting action there, as he always keeps us up to speed here on Indiana Sports Beat. Brought to you, of course, by Reynolds Family Dentistry. Serving the needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. They take care of me, and they do a hell of a job. Great place to go. You're going to be as happy as you can be. Great family atmosphere, and more importantly, they do a great job. Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Make sure you check them out as they help us bring the Indiana coverage to you each and every day. As we just finished up with Drew Davis from Peegs.com. Make sure you check his coverage out of recruiting there and of guys that are coming along and maybe the future Hoosiers as we keep track of all those.
Drew knows the stuff.
He certainly does, and he gets to see a lot of high school basketball games. I get to see a few with him during the summertime, but not as much during the winter.
One thing I wish you would have asked him, wonder if he watched any while he was down in Louisiana. Quality of basketball is probably a lot different.
Yeah. You've got a game today, right?
I do, 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
That's going to be weird.
That's, a little strange for but we're in the holiday season, so all the schools are out. Who are you doing?
South Spencer at North Harrison.
Yeah, so an 11 o'clock game. But I think they had there was a Floyd Central played an 11 a.m. game last week against Ron Colley, I believe.
And then I think New Albany played, 10:30 yesterday.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a little too early.
Kind of a crazy schedule.
Yeah, it's weird, and I don't get it. Why? Because people are still working.
Yeah.
So why not do it at least at 6 so they can get to the games a little easier?
Well, let the kids have a life. Do something that night.
Let the kids have a life. My gosh, they're in high school. We got plenty more coming back on Indiana Sports Beat. We'll be back with more. Todd Leary's on the show right after this.
This is Jim Boyle, and I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
We're coming to your city. We're gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, December 28th. Jim Coyle sitting in with you. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking it. Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Got Justin Kalen high atop the Crew Chiefs box.
That's right.
Hope everyone had a great Christmas week. Hope you're enjoying the holiday season. We've got a good program for you. Today, Todd Leary's on the show. Spoke to Drew Davis earlier, but we've got plenty to get to. Lots of bowl games coming up this weekend as well. Before we get to all that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this Friday, December 28th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. As Jim said, a lot of football going on as we had 3 bowl games last night. Duke 56-27 over Temple in the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl. Wisconsin 35-3 over Miami in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. Then you had Baylor 45-38 over Vanderbilt in the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl. A lot of good games coming up tomorrow as well as tonight, including the college football playoff semifinals at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Notre Dame and Clemson square off, followed by Alabama and Oklahoma at 8. Those are your headlines for this December 28th, brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knob.
And welcome back. Bowl season underway. Justin gave you a couple of scores. The bowl, is it me, or have these bowl games sucked?
Sucked.
So far.
Agreed.
Duke and Temple, not what I'm looking for.
No.
Wisconsin, Miami. Now that sounded good. Yankee Stadium. Wisconsin kicks the crap out of Miami. But, of course, that's the Big Ten and the ACC. ACC sucked this year. I've said that repeatedly.
Let me tell you a stat about that game, though. Please. I saw this in our last segment. These are 4 or 5-star recruits on the rosters. Wisconsin has 7 4 or 5-star recruits.
4 or 5-star?
Yeah, 7. Miami, 34. And Wisconsin beat the crap out of them, 35-3.
Wow.
Nuts, right?
It just goes to show you.
Coaching, player development, scheme.
Wow. I'm just shocked by the amount that Miami has.
Yeah. Well, you tell me I can go play in Miami. If I'm 4 or 5-star recruit, yeah.
Well, first of all, they all come from Florida.
That's true, yeah.
I don't understand how Florida produces as much talent as it does.
It's crazy. There's so many high schools.
I'm talking about from a sheer numbers standpoint. How many teams don't have a kid from Florida on it?
Not very many.
No, not very many. I mean, you look at Indiana, just a mid-level team in the Big Ten. They're loaded with Florida players. Louisville. Speed, man. Florida produces the specialty positions. Receiver. DBs. Big time on that. But good Lord, 30-something. It just goes to show you it's about talent, coaching. And Wisconsin's a team that got beat at home by Minnesota. How many 4 or 5 stars do you think Minnesota's got on it?
Not 7.
I can't believe Wisconsin only has 7.
Yeah, that is kind of mind-blowing.
Hell, Indiana's got that. Indiana has to have 7 4-stars on its roster, especially after this signing class.
After the signing period, you would think they...
Well, my God, they got a couple last year. And you got, what, 3 or 4 this year?
Yeah.
And you know there's got to be a couple on from before. So that's shocking about Wisconsin that they have that few. I don't understand that. But it just shows you so that they don't need a scheme, man. They're a big running team, but now they certainly don't have a 4-star quarterback, I think.
When you got a guy like Jonathan Taylor running the football, you don't need
that
a
helps.
Lot more.
200-something yards.
Dude is a
214.
beast. I can't wait to watch him on Sundays.
He's just a sophomore, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's got to play one more year.
He's got another year he's got to play. Now, see, if this was college basketball and this was the NBA,
oh, he's gone.
I'm just saying this would be nice if the kids had to stay for 3 years.
Maybe not 3, maybe 2.
I'd like to see him stay for 3.
I mean, I'd like to see them stay, but that's not. I don't think that's all that realistic.
It's not anymore. But I'll be glad when they don't have to go.
Right. Yeah. Either let them go out of college or let them go out of high school, or make them stay 2 years. That's my.
I agree with that. I think that there should be an automatic 2-year commitment if you go.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't have to hold kids back. I mean, look at Zion Williamson. You think he needed?
No, I think they should be allowed to go.
Yeah.
But if you don't, and you make a commitment to go to a school,
you're there 2
years. I think
the
commitment is 2-year minimum.
Agreed.
2-year minimum. They are investing a lot of money in you. You're going to get a lot of training. You're going to get fed. You're going to get housed. You're going to make trips. You're going to go around the country. You're going to get an education.
Probably get the girls.
And so I'm kind of tired of hearing that players ought to get paid. Da, da, da. No, they really shouldn't. They're getting paid. And
not monetarily, but they're getting paid.
Because this goes back to the business thing. If you have a company and you're making billions of dollars, are you required to pay your employees a different amount because you make more? No, you have to pay them what you can get away with paying them. Now, they may demand more and strike or whatever, but there's no rule that forces, other than minimum wage, of course. There's a minimum level, but you have to equate things that they already get to a monetary standard, an education, food, housing, trips, medical needs. Everything that they need is taken care of. They have no costs.
And as someone who worked in the food court in college, I can tell you this right now. They just don't get food. They get a lot of food.
They get whatever they want.
They get the biggest meal card there is, and they go through 3-4 times a day with trays and trays of food. Especially the football guys.
So, I mean, I'm kind of over the. Okay, if you want to, if the players want to get paid, I say, all right, pay them. But then now you got to charge them back. But you got to pay for this scholarship.
Yeah,
you got to pay for this room and board. Sure. You have to pay for your food. You have to pay for your plane tickets to and from the games.
They won't want paid anymore.
You have to pay for the hotel that we stay in when we go to the games. You have to pay for your food on the road. Well, we'll pay you, but now you have to pay for this stuff instead. Out of that.
Losing money that way.
It's setting them up because the majority of kids are not going to go pro. They're going to get a job afterwards. And guess where most of these kids get their jobs through?
School.
Imagine that. The connections of the schools they play for. They're set up. If they're not going pro, they have the ability to be set up for life. So, yeah, I'm kind of over the players ought to get paid thing.
Agreed.
I mean, I've been back and forth on it. It's not that I have a problem with them getting paid. It's not a moralistic thing to me. But the more you think about it, they're getting paid. If they don't like it, you have the opportunity to try to go to the G League. You have the opportunity to try to walk on in Europe. You have the opportunity to go get a job somewhere else. This is not the service. This is not the draft. They're not being drafted into these places and forced. Hey, you want to come here and play ball? We'll give you free room and board. We'll give you an education. We'll pay for everything. We'll train you. We'll give you the best physical training. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good trade out. Now,
you think there's do
the coaches make too much money? Hell yes.
Oh, yeah. You think there's an influx of players that want to go straight out of high school to the G League like Darius Baisley did?
By influx, you mean how many? I mean, what are we talking?
I mean, do you think that's going to become more common practice? Because I didn't think it would take off at all. And then you had Baisley go, who was one of the top recruits in the country.
I think you'll have I think it's going to be a blip.
Yeah.
There may be a few more at the beginning, but they're going to say, yeah, this maybe not such the greatest route. Maybe I should go to college.
Could see that.
Maybe I should just hold. Now there's going to be guys that aren't made for college. There's guys that are barely getting out of high school. They're done with school, man. They've done. It's all been all they can do just to get through high school.
Yeah.
Just not a school person. Get that. There's people like that in the world. Not everybody's the same. They don't have to be. And they should be afforded that opportunity, I think, to do that. That's better suited for them.
Yep.
There's going to be some that do it and make a mistake in doing it, but we got plenty more coming up on the show today. Todd Leary's on the program. As I said, we'll talk about IU basketball and plenty of other things. Lots of bowl games coming up. College football playoffs is upon us. Jim Coyle coming back with more Indiana Sports Beat after this.
This is Jim Coyle, and I'm not on the the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle here with you. I hope you're having a great day and a great week. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Keeping things rolling. Hit us up on the text line if you wish. We've got Todd Leary on the show today coming up in the next break. Any questions you got for Todd, you can hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts are, what's going on with you. And lot of football this weekend. Not a lot of basketball. Basketball's coming back around as the holiday hit us a little bit.
Yeah, I looked at the games for this weekend. It is confirmed Louisville, Kentucky is the only game worth watching.
Yeah, maybe. Is it the only ranked game?
I mean, there's all the ranked teams in play, but
They're
none
just
of
not playing each other.
Right. And Louisville's not ranked. Let's not give them too much credit.
Joker texted in that the state of Florida is to Florida what Indiana is to basketball. Exactly what I was thinking when I was talking about that a minute ago. I didn't say that, but...
Oh, when it comes to football?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
100%.
That's a perfect analogy. And I was thinking that, didn't say it, but Joker texted it in. It's the truth. But also, see, the thing is, Indiana is to basketball what Florida is to football, what Texas is to football, what Ohio is to football, what Pennsylvania is to football. But to me, there's only one Indiana is to basketball.
Sure.
I don't think another state does high school basketball close to what Indiana does.
I'd agree with that.
Not even close. The talent they produce, the crowds that go to these games, I mean, it's nuts.
But, I mean, people in Florida and Texas and California would all say the same thing about their state in football.
Exactly, but the thing is, you're talking about Texas, about Ohio, about Pennsylvania, about Florida. When it comes to basketball, you're talking about Indiana.
Yeah.
That's it. You're not talking about 4 or 5 other states. Indiana is to basketball what Indiana stands alone. But in football, you've got Florida, Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I guess you got to throw California in there just because of sheer size, but not from a love. Texas, Florida, Oklahoma. Texas, Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Those states have a love of college or high school football, similar to what Indiana has for basketball.
Sure.
I mean, the movie's called Hoosiers. The TV show was Friday Night Lights. There's a reason for that. That is what it's like for them down there.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, before I moved to Florida for the brief time I did, I was not a crazy football fan, just wasn't a big football guy. When you move to an area like that, you don't have a choice. I mean, you've got to like football because that's what everyone's doing on Friday nights.
Well, that's why you have Florida and Florida State and Miami and now Central Florida.
It's crazy.
Just a lot of good. There's a reason they have so many schools that are good in that sport. I mean, Lane Kiffin's down there. Charlie Strong's down there. And those are 2 teams, not even the teams I just mentioned. They're 6 deep right there. So, yeah, it makes a huge difference. Then you got Texas. You go to Texas A&M, Texas, SMU, Texas Tech, just Houston. Lots of teams in those sports. Lots of teams in those sports. But Joker's right. Hit us up on the text line. If you have any questions or thoughts for Todd coming up on the show, 812-269-6367. Hope you've had a great holiday week. The bowl games, college football playoffs are this weekend.
Playoffs?
I would have not said it, I think, that time.
I know you wouldn't. That's why I threw it in.
Daggone it. Got me. Oklahoma, Alabama. Let's start with the big one. Everybody's picking Oklahoma. I mean, everybody's picking Alabama. And everybody's wondering, is Tua going to play? He's said to be 85%.
Does it matter?
Not really, because if he doesn't play, Jalen Hurts plays.
Yeah.
And he'll kick your ass just as fast, if not faster.
Yep.
So, wow. The fact that Oklahoma has no defense.
Alabama doesn't have a great defense themselves.
Not a great one, but better than Oklahoma's. But Oklahoma's offense might be better than Alabama's. Is it going to be a foot race? Is it going to be a 52-50 game?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. You know, the over-under is only at 77.5. That seems like the lock of the century, that they'll go over that.
You would think with these non-defensive teams, I mean, 30, 35, 30, was 37 points apiece?
Yeah, 38, yeah. No problem. I'm thinking, honestly,
what's the most points that Alabama's given up this year? But they haven't played in Oklahoma.
No. They have given up.
Ooh, that's going to be
31 was their most they gave up at Arkansas.
Ooh, not a very good team.
I'm thinking some 49, 45, 49, 42, something in there.
It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Oklahoma to win the game.
Deal. I'm writing that down. I'll take Bama.
What's the spread? What am I getting?
I don't know if I want to use the spread. Can we just go straight up?
Baloney. How many am I getting?
14. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Oh, my God. I would take that bet.
14.
14 points. You're going to give Oklahoma and this offense 14 points?
Better call up Vegas. Put you a little wager down.
I mean, they're planning on Oklahoma just not stopping them at all.
Yeah.
That's like Oklahoma just staying on the sideline. Kick the ball off, let them run it back.
14.
Oh, I'm taking that. I'm Oklahoma, and I got 14 points going in. Yeah, we're good. All right, Notre Dame and Clemson. I'm going to let you pick that.
Clemson's favored by 13 over under a 56.5, so I'm going to go Notre Dame. Just because I know you're not a big fan of Notre Dame, I'll give you Clemson. But I get 13.
Man, I don't like that bet at all.
No, now we're in the same boat. I hate the Bama bet.
Now, see, this is what aggravates me. Here's our national championship game. And the point spread for both games is 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's crap.
We could have saved a lot of time and just put Clemson and Bama against each other.
Why are we having games, the national semifinals, that are 2 touchdowns apart? Why?
Is Clemson and Alabama really that far ahead of everybody?
That's what Vegas thinks. And maybe they're right. It sucks. I mean, it sucks to think your Final Four is basically just 2 teams. But, of course, I'm not a fan of Notre Dame being in there to begin with. I still don't think they deserve to be in there. I think there are other teams that are better than they are that have a loss because they played a tougher schedule.
We need some net rankings in college football.
Well, Notre Dame does not deserve to be in there. I don't care. It's just because of their damn name, and it's aggravating. It is aggravating. I think Central Florida could beat Notre Dame.
Who?
Why not? They beat Auburn last year.
With their quarterback, yeah, I might jump on board with you there.
They scored 56 points without him.
On Memphis.
Okay.
Not Notre Dame. I think with their quarterback, they'd give Notre Dame a game. Without him, I don't think it's within 3 touchdowns.
I disagree with that.
But I'm not a believer in Central Florida like you are. You've been a believer in them since the beginning of last season.
Well, not quite there. I came around.
Yeah.
After they beat Auburn, I'm like, okay. After they beat the only team to beat Alabama last year, okay. The Big Ten has a chance to do some bowl damage again this year. You got Wisconsin already jumped out on the start. Minnesota's already got the Big Ten to win. So Big Ten's up 2-0, right?
Yep, off to a good start.
Haven't lost a game yet. They've got games coming up. I know Michigan's going to have another chance to redeem themselves, as they were the only Big Ten team to lose last year. That was just ridiculous.
They shouldn't have an issue. They've got Florida, who Kentucky beat. Let's not forget.
Trying to find the
Purdue and Auburn play today at 1:30.
Oh, yeah. All right, so West Virginia, Syracuse, that's not till 5. So the Purdue game's the first game today as they take on the Auburn Tigers. So the Big Ten with another opportunity. Purdue's at 6-6, Auburn 7-5. Big Ten against the SEC. Is Auburn going to lose their second straight bowl game?
We'll see. Auburn's favored by 3 here. I like Auburn here.
Man, I don't like to bet against Jeff Brom. I got to be honest with you. Notre Dame and Clemson, that game is tomorrow at 4 p.m. There's 3 bowl games today, right?
Yeah. You got West Virginia, Syracuse, which should be a good game, but Will Greer's not playing for West Virginia. So
then the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah.
Remember the Alamo. Do you think that Mike Leach is not just doing all kinds of stuff about the Alamo? I would not be surprised if he had some guy dressed up as Davy Crockett and Sam Houston. just doing the whole thing. My man Mike Leach is a nut. And I am all over Washington State on this.
That's another team you've liked all year long.
Love them.
Yeah.
My God, they put 56 points up against whoever they played. Was that Stanford?
Washington, I think.
Washington?
Right?
No, I don't remember who it was, but I don't think it was Washington. But, man, that was just an unbelievable beatdown. Unbelievable beatdown. Michigan taking on Florida. That's tomorrow at noon. Trying to find some other Big Ten teams that are playing coming up. Michigan State, they don't play till Mondays. They take on Oregon in the Red Box Bowl. Oregon is a 2.5-point favorite in that. Northwestern, the Holiday Bowl, always a great bowl. That used to just be the one of the most. Every game was always close when I was growing up. Down in San Diego, that's Monday night at 7:00 as they take on the Utah Utes. Indiana played them last year. Was that last year they played them in the? No, year before last.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's 2 years ago. Their last bowl game out in California. Iowa is in the Outback Bowl. That's not till Tuesdays. They take on Mississippi State. Ohio State is on Tuesday. So most of the Big Ten games are next week because they're playing in the big games.
And then Penn State, Kentucky.
Penn State, Kentucky's on Tuesday as well. Both 2-9-3 teams. That's going to be interesting. Number 12 ranked Penn State, number 14 ranked Kentucky. Big Ten, SEC, 9-3 records. So looking forward to that. And I think that may wrap up the Big Ten's teams that I see.
That's all I had.
So, yeah, pretty much wraps it up. So there you go. There's your picks. We'll see. We've got plenty more coming up here on the show today. Todd Leary joins us in the next segment. Stay tuned. We're back after this on Indiana Sports Beat.
This is Jim Webb, and I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start.
Our personal ray of sunshine, Todd Leary.
How are you this morning?
I'm great, brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing terrific, thank you.
Did you have a wonderful Christmas?
I did. Yep, I did. It was awesome.
Get the kiddos taken care of and all that good stuff?
Yep, they're spoiled as usual. Yep.
Lots of traveling. Time off for a lot of people, and unfortunately it's not time off for everybody, especially you're one of those as well. You've been driving all over the place and traveling and still getting things done during this busy time.
Yep. I made a trip from Kentucky to Virginia to Indiana to back to Kentucky. So it was a lot of in the car time, but that gives me a time to think about how important things are, and actually it's a great time for me and my kids, and we have a blast. We've got some traditions we do that are kind of goofy, and only us would understand, but it's fun.
Well, we appreciate having you, and grateful for you joining us each week. So thank you very much, Todd. We appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome, brother. You know, I enjoy it. I like hearing myself talk. You know how that works.
No, we love to hear it as well. Not a lot going on right now in the basketball world. It's a breather. It's a time off. And we talked last week. You said, well, they may get time off, but it wasn't that way for you. But how important do you think it is for these guys getting a little extra time off, getting away from basketball, just getting to do nothing for a minute?
You know, one of the things that Coach Knight preached from day one was mentally how challenging everything was, and mentally how much tougher things were than when you were in high school or at any point that you've had before. And that's where he challenged us a lot of times that, you know, maybe we didn't understand as freshmen and even sophomores, but as you get a little bit older, you kind of understand what's going on and what he's doing. And that's kind of what this kind of the middle to December all the way through the beginning of the Big Ten season. You know, that's kind of the break he gave us there. We usually didn't play very tough opponents. We played, those Indiana Classics and Hoosier Classics and those kinds of things. We did play Kentucky usually early in December, but after that it was just kind of a little bit of a mental break up until the Big Ten season started. And his whole thing, you start to figure it out after time. His big thing was he wanted us fresh when we started the Big Ten season, and that was everything before that was just leading up to the Big Ten season, and it was that important to him. I think people who are Bob Knight fans probably remember how much he hated the idea of a Big Ten tournament because he wanted the Big Ten regular season to mean a lot more than the tournament, and that's what we focused on. I mean, we were really focused on winning the Big Ten and doing well against those opponents, and this little break mentally right here, this 2 weeks or so, back when we played was, this was important for us to regroup mentally, get ourselves excited and ready to play. We've had 2-a-day practices, just crazy, tough stuff physically, but then mentally we wanted to be ready for when the Big Ten season started. So that's what was so important to us. Now, these guys have the exact – all these coaches try to do the same thing. Archie is the same way as Coach Knight was. They use this little break to get guys ready to go and get them rejuvenated. And then, obviously in Indiana's case, they're using it to heal from injuries and things like that. So, it's a good little break, but it's all kind of leading up to the start of the Big Ten.
Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries and continue to get those, unfortunately, is Rob Phinisee, the latest to go down with a concussion in a game against Jacksonville. I don't think it was too serious. I haven't heard anything different, but usually those things work themselves out. Race Thompson, on the other hand, has been out for a couple of months with a concussion. We're hopeful that we'll see him maybe mid-month back, and it's something that could certainly help them because you lose a Rob Phinisee, you're losing the guy that's been running your offense for all year, which they have Devontae to step up. But it's got to hurt when you kind of get into a rhythm with Rob, and to lose him, it's got to hurt.
Yeah, and it would hurt, the flow of everything and the flow of how they want to do things. But, as a freshman, as for him individually, you know, it can, you've got to take some time and figure out how it's going to affect him. You know, is it going to slow him down? Is it going to slow down his progress? Because I think people were starting to understand how much more comfortable he was getting every game. And he was understanding the coach's offense and where the ball was needing to get to and when it was supposed to get there. And you know, there's a lot of things that, a point guard has to have in their mind and going on while they're processing things going a million miles an hour and trying to get guys taking the ball from you, and you're trying to time a cut with when a pass gets there, and there's a lot of little things that go into it. And I think Rob was getting much more comfortable at having all that happen. And anything like this where you miss a little bit of time, especially you miss some practice time, it's going to catch up with you, and you're going to see a little bit of a lull probably from him. But if not, you know, more power to him. I mean, the kid has played so much better than and been so much more mature than what I thought he would be able to be right off the bat. But that's just a credit to him and, you know, probably his coaching staff in high school and AAU and all that. I mean, those guys have done a good job preparing him, and hopefully he'll come out and feel great. I mean, I'm sure he feels pretty good. It's just going to be a matter of getting back in rhythm and that timing and being able to play at that speed.
And you know, from a player's perspective, what's that like? Sitting on the bench, can he still get anything positive? Can he sit over there and watch the game unfold from a different perspective and learn anything? Or is this me trying to put a good spin on it?
Yeah, you know, that's actually a really good point that you bring up, because when you can't sit back, I mean, you hate to miss games. I mean, that's what, you know, we practice really hard all the time, and you're practicing to play the games, and the games are kind of the reward for everything. And so when you miss those, it kind of stinks. But you can have that perspective. I had a redshirt season, and you know, at first in the redshirt season, you know, I would mentally check out. I would show up for a game. I mean, I was just a fan like everybody else. But the coaches work with you, and they get you to kind of try to see it through their eyes and how they're looking at it. And the assistant coaches, I know Coach Dockich was real good with us about having us think about certain things. I mean, we were no part of the pregame and no part of the actual game itself, but, you know, they would give us little things to look at and what the coaches were going to be looking at, and you start to look at it a little bit differently. And that, I'm sure they're doing the same thing with Finney, and all the guys that are injured for that matter. And you just try to get them to develop mentally and, you know, physically they can't be out there, but you're trying to get them to see things the way the coaches are, especially a point guard like Finney.
For someone like Race Thompson, who hopes to play this season, how hard is it to keep him engaged in what's been going on, missing the time that he's missing? He's not expected to redshirt, but he's been sitting over there waiting to go. How hard is it to keep a player like that engaged? Not a player like Race, but someone who's sitting, not knowing when they're going to get to play.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. You know, when you've got guys that are practicing every day and you know, they're putting in all the same effort as everyone else is, and they're not getting to play that reward, that game at the end of it. You know, it's difficult. But he's had, you know, he's probably had a little longer stint than that than most people that I could even speak of, because he had situation. He didn't play last year, and he was getting ready to go to start this season, and then has had to sit it out. So, you know, I'm sure he's questioning how he's going to be when he gets out there. I'm sure he's ready to play and ready to go. But I mean, he's just got to be questioning a little bit of what kind of impact is he going to have. And it's been so long since he played in game situations that I'm sure it's going to be a little tough for him, especially at first. But I think there's some big points in the season where he could come in and definitely help him out, and especially defensively against some of the Big Ten teams.
Talk with former Hoosier Final Four member Todd Leary. And from a team standpoint, this team has really been evolving to find itself, I guess, to use a weird term. But they're currently second in the country at two-point field goal shooting, roughly 53%, which is incredible. Of course, their three-point shooting has been coming along, which is helpful. Free throw shooting is getting hopefully a little better, and the turnovers, more importantly. And to me, we know they're not going to be a great three-point shooting team, although they've shot the ball kind of well, lately. But turnovers, taking care of the ball, to me, is tantamount and hitting free throws. If they can do those two things and hit 53%, they're going to win a hell of a lot of games.
Yeah, they are, and they're going to be a tough out for any team, and that's a good thing to be able to say is they're going to be tough for anybody to beat home or away, and that's the turnovers are a big factor in that. I mean, you bring up a great point with that, and they have done a pretty good job with that, which is one of the things. When they didn't look so great in the first couple of games of the season, I think the turnovers were something where it was a little bit of a flashback to about 4 years ago. But these guys, they've matured a little bit different. I mean, they've got the thing that scares me the most of anything is the free throw shooting. I mean, that is something that can lose you ball games, even when you've played well. And it's things that can help you win a game and win a game kind of ugly. They've been fortunate enough to do that in some games. They still didn't shoot the ball well from the free throw line, but honestly, that's really what scares me the most because, again, it's a mental thing. These guys, especially Romeo, I mean, he's obviously a good shooter. He has good touch. Once you start missing a couple and then you hear the crowd start, groaning a little bit when you miss here or there, I mean, it gets in your head and you start thinking about it. Obviously, Jim, I got no point of reference with this.
And I was going to say that very thing. I was like, how for someone like yourself who was a great free throw shooter, and you were. But everybody on that team was. And I was going to ask, you guys were so solid at that. As a matter of fact, it was a point of emphasis. Indiana, back then, when you guys were playing, you all made more free throws than most teams even took.
Yeah, and that was we had a chart up on the locker room wall that Coach Knight had in there, and it was like, I can't even remember at this point. I'll say like it was the 10 or 12 keys to victory from Coach's perspective, and one of those things was to make more free throws than the other team shoots. And, we used to get to check those boxes off, and the more boxes we got checked off, the less we got yelled at. So we were excited to be able. That was one that was pretty easy. We had a bunch of pretty good shooters for the most part. I mean, we had guys that were decent free throw shooters coming in. I can remember Chris Reynolds. He's kind of struggled from the free throw line. And the crazy part is no one worked harder at it than he did. I mean, they used to have him shooting 500 free throws after practice. Like but like I said, that kind of gets in your head a little bit too. I mean, when you have to work on it because you're not very good at it, then it makes you think you're not very good at it. And so, there's just a lot that goes into it. A lot of things in a kid's head. I try to think back on what I thought like at that age versus what I am at 50-year-old Todd. And you're not the basketball and free throws and all that is a lot going on, but you're a college kid too, and you get a lot of other things going on, and that's one of the challenges of these coaches with some of the younger guys is getting them to be able to balance everything in their first years of being in school. So I'm getting off topic of what you were asking me, but overall, the free throw shooting is the thing that scares me the most of what I think they need to improve on, because it is a direct thing that can lose you ball games just looking at that stat line alone.
Well, it cost them the Arkansas game. I mean, that's for sure. They could have won that game with it. But obviously, you guys were extraordinarily mentally tough. And a point of reference I have is just recently watching a clip, and I'm sure you recall where Coach Knight accidentally headbutted Sharon Wilkerson. They're showing the clip of this, and I'm watching this again. I've seen it 1,000 times, but this time it stood out to me because as I'm watching, sitting right directly to his right, as Coach Knight is having a spirited conversation with Sharon, is one Todd Leary. And it was like nothing was even going on. The only thing missing is a box of popcorn in your hand, like you're sitting down watching cartoons or something, looking out in front of you like there ain't nothing going on, and Knight is within inches to your right, and Sharon's inches to your right, and I don't know what all was going on over there, but, boy, it's like nothing was going on in your world at all.
Well, this is I remember this specific incident because I would not make this up. I would tell you if I knew what was going on. But if you rewound it a little bit farther back, you would see that I just got taken out of the game for either a stupid pass or missing a switch or doing something dumb. And so I was sitting there. When I saw him coming down there, I literally just looked straight forward. I never saw the trip or headbutt or whatever you're calling it. I never saw it. I got home, and my mom had said, "How in the world did you not react to that?" And I was like, "React to what? I don't know what you're talking about." And I swear to you, I did not see it. I look at myself on tape, and I'm like, "Come on now, you had to have been able to see that." I did not see it. I didn't see it happen. I found out about it later on. And you know, you guys are way off base. I think he just lost his balance.
That's what I'm saying. It was actually
Sharon was cushioning the blow for him. He was going to fall, and Sharon caught him with his forehead.
But I was serious last night. I go, man, he is tuned out. I was watching it again. I'm like, that's why they were so good at free throws. He is tuned out.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, man, it was great. But just great times. But Indiana needs to definitely get a little more mentally tougher at the free throw line for sure. But I think that's something that might come around. I think that they're starting to take a little more pride in it as they really find themselves as a team. And I think that they are finding that this two-point shooting is what's going to guide them, that they have to get to the rim, that they've got to get to the free throw line. But getting to the free throw line means making the damn free throws.
Yeah, no, it does. Well, and I tell you, one thing that's a little bit different in today's game versus when we played was, you know, it was a way for us to solidify victories. And without having the 30-second shot clock that they have and that stuff, I mean, you could get to the end of the game and hold the ball a lot longer. So if you had a 6 or 7 point lead late in the game, I mean, we just knew we had won at that point. The last 5 or 6 minutes were irrelevant because we were going to hold the ball, they were going to foul us, and we were going to make our free throws. And so that's how we could guarantee victories. All we had to do was be ahead at that, you know, under that 8-minute timeout. If we're ahead by 6 or 8 points, that game was over in our mind because we had confidence in everybody that was going to be on the floor and being able to make their free throws, and they were going to have to foul us. And you know, that was one of the keys we were trying to get to. And you know, with the shot clock and so many more possessions that these guys have now, you know, you just don't have that. You don't have that luxury. There's a lot more possessions towards the end of a game, and you know, quite frankly, the guys are just not as, the art of free throw shooting is not as important to kids growing up, and so you know, that they struggle with some of that down the end. But we took it a little bit differently because it's a way for us to ice the game when it got to the end.
Well, maybe they'll get to that point, hopefully so. And big football weekend coming up. College football playoffs this weekend. Do you follow the college football at all?
I do. I'm a sports fan, so
who you got picked in the college football this weekend? You got Alabama playing Oklahoma. Who you got in that game?
Come on now. I mean,
hey, I'm going with Oklahoma.
Pick Alabama. It has to be an Oklahoma fan.
I'm going with Oklahoma.
Oh my! Well, that's cute. That's funny. You go ahead. You know what? All of you sports guys, all you radio sports guys, try to pick different than what everybody else does, so that people will call in and argue with you, and that's all you're doing there because you know Alabama's winning that game.
You know what? Oklahoma's got a hell of an offense. You're mostly right, but Oklahoma's got a hell of an offense. I don't want to pick Alabama. I'm tired of Alabama, and I hope they get beat. But then you got Notre Dame and Clemson, and I'm tired of Clemson, and I don't think Notre Dame should be in there. And I don't even know who to pick, to be honest, at a game, because I don't care either way, but I guess you got to go with Clemson there.
All you're saying when you make those kind of predictions is that you don't know anything about football.
Well,
let's just leave it. That's my Coach Knight answer for you. How you feel about that?
You're very true. You're very accurate.
I was just messing with you.
Very astute. My friend is very astute. Todd, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you as always. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Indiana taking on Illinois on the 3rd. But hopefully you have a great weekend. Thank you so much. I appreciate you as always.
You bet. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Todd Leary, former Hoosier great, former Final Four member. Brought to you, of course, by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, and beer. Be up there today for lunch. As a matter of fact, send me a tweet when you see this all day long. I don't care who it is. Give me the starters on Bob Knight's last Final Four team. The first people to get that in to me, I'll get you a lunch. I'll get you one in Fishers Bubba's and Greenwood Bubba's and Clarksville Bubba's.
All three?
Doesn't matter where you are.
Oh, okay.
Send me a text, or rather a tweet on Twitter, at Jim Coyle ISB, and we'll get you taken care of.
Or you can send him a text at, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're going to do it on Twitter. You got to get on Twitter, at Jim Coyle ISB. Just send that answer.
He's going to throw your personal line out there.
And then I'll hit you back up if you've won. But thanks a lot for joining us today. We had a great show, great week. Hope everyone had a great holiday this weekend with Christmas. And you got New Year's coming back. We'll be back on Monday, of course, We will be here on Monday. Don Fisher will be along with us as well. Big weekend. College football playoffs are getting underway. Hope everybody gets to have some fun. Kentucky and Louisville this weekend. That'd be a great basketball game to watch. Who are you picking in that, by the way?
I'll go Kentucky. But I think it's going to be a hell of a game just because it's at the Yum Center.
Yeah, I unfortunately made a bet a long time ago.
You got to go Kentucky.
Brother.
Big.
Golly, I gave up 20 points. This was back when Kentucky was supposed to win the national championship, before we knew they sucked. Terrible. Oh, not terrible, but gee whiz. But, man. Oh, well. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Kentucky, unfortunately, just because I need them to win so I don't lose that bet.
That's right.
Other than that, Indiana's taking on Illinois. That's not till next week, so we got plenty to get to. A lot of college football this weekend. Thanks a lot for joining us. For Justin Kalen, I'm Jim Coy, and I will see you on the radio.